Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, we're going to talk about CPN numbers, credit privacy number, an alternative to the Social Security number. And this is big in the news right now. If you haven't seen the news, Navy Federal said that they're going to scrub their database of individuals who have credit cards through them. And there's also a list of other companies that are going to do it. JP Morgan Chase was one that comes to mind. And they're going to start scrubbing their systems, and they're going to start matching up to see if the CPN number was used to replace the Social Security number for an individual. Now, you might be wondering how they're going to do all of that stuff. There is a database that the Social Security Administration has been putting into place, and it is now going into full effect as of January 1st, 2024. And it's called Electronic Consent Based Social Security Database. And with this database, what they're going to be able to do is in real time. See, a lot of this stuff was not being able to be done in real time with matching up with the Social Security Administration. So people were building up fake credit profiles using some information that was correct, and then either sneaking in with a CPN number, or they were utilizing individual Social Security numbers and doing it in the reverse, where they were building up credit, and then they would do what's called a bust out. And on the website, which is crazy, but the bust out is where I'm used to hearing about. The bust out was on The Sopranos. Remember, what they would do is they would buy a business or take over a business and then order up a whole bunch of stuff, and then not pay the the loans or the vendors their money. They call it a bust out. Well, banks and credit unions and credit card companies have been victims of quote unquote bust outs, and they even have it here on their website. But also, remember, I had bought a bank building, and I still get this report from the Bankers Association. I get this report, and they call it inside of there. They say that it's called a bust out. And what people would do, they would build up credit profiles, make some payments for a little bit of time to make the profile look good, and then they would do a quote unquote bust out. They would have credit cards. They would charge them up and then let them charge off. People have done this with vehicles and all types of stuff with it. But you can see people are getting caught now. But the ones that the banks were having a harder time finding people who had did it with credit cards, because they don't have to be at the location unless they're making a charge at a store. And even if they did that, it could be hard to catch an individual who is doing something illegal with the card. Now, they can decline the transaction, but the person could leave or run out of the store. With a card, we've been seeing a lot of people get arrested because what the dealers are doing in real time is they are matching up information. And when they see that stuff is not real, they end up calling the police. That's what they've been doing. Now, I don't know why some people are doing this. I was doing some research, and I was looking at some videos and saying, just seeing what other people were saying about this. And I saw on some of the people's inside of their description area where they had links where you could create your bank statements and create W-2 forms to make it look like you're working. Now, that's what made me want to make this video, because the other stuff, I know no one that's watching my channel is doing anything illegal. But I understand that people could make things look good, and it can kind of have people kind of fall or get lulled into something and doing something that they should not be doing. I'm here to tell you, you listen to me. I'm your uncle, I'm your brother, I'm that father figure, depending on how old you are. Let me tell you, don't do anything illegal when it comes to your credit, because your credit is like is a key piece of your financial future. And you don't want anything to come back on you in the future that can end up hurting you, and all of that goodwill that you did to get there could just disappear overnight. Utilizing CPN numbers and stuff like that to build your credit, that is not good. Utilizing your own profile and then adding on enhancers to build your credit, that's the way to do it. I know it can take a little bit of time. If your credit is screwed up, you're going to have to fix your credit first before you start to move forward. But that's just the way it goes. If you messed up your credit, put in just as much time as you did when you screwed it up. Put in that same amount of time to get it repaired, and follow through what it takes to get it repaired, and you'll be doing things the right way. Now, we have been able to get CPN numbers for clients, but I've only done it for clients who have been victim of domestic violence or severe. And when I say severe, severe ID theft, where their stuff was just totally destroyed. We've had some instances where parents had utilized the children's social security number to get services like electric and water, gas, stuff like that. Um, when I had talked to, I remember years ago, a mom called and we had to repair her son's credit, and he was just in college, like he had never used his credit, but he had all this bad stuff on his credit. And I had a conversation with the mom, and she said, "Hey, I had to do what I had to do. I got divorced from his father, and my credit was messed up, and I was not able to get the utilities on. I basically did it to be able to keep us, in secure in our apartment." And I said, "I understand that." She did step up to the plate and said, "I want to do everything that it takes to fix it." We had to do some settlements so her son would be able to move forward. So there are legitimate uh, uh, times that a CPN number can be used. And then there's a lot of people also using TIN numbers, temporary ID numbers. That brings up a situation that happened with a guy that was doing some work at our house, and he had was saying that he had problems being able. He wanted to get a house, and I said, "Well, what's going on with your credit? Like, why are you worried about being able to get a house?" And he had saw one of my cards for credit repair, and I was like, "How is your credit? I could take a look at your credit." And then he was like, "Well, I have a TIN number." I said, "Do you have a social security number? Or are you just saying you have a social security number?" He was like, "I got a TIN number." And I was like, "Well, you're not from this country, so," because he was from another country. And I was like, "Well, they usually get that temporary ID number at the beginning. And if you establish your credit using that number, as long as you didn't do anything illegal, you should be able to move forward with it." And he was like, "Well, I'm not sure," because he had tried to utilize it for getting a home and there was a problem with it. I'm not going to go into details about what we ended up doing to where, and it's not any secret. We just had to get his stuff straight. So I don't want to mislead or have people think that we did something uh, unscrupulous or something irregular to be able to get his situation taken care of. No, we were above board. There was just certain paperwork that he had to fill out. He was never trying to utilize the number to do anything illegal. He had always paid and did everything. It's just that it was established using that TIN number, and he was from another country. So there was certain paperwork that had to be processed. I won't go into it with this video, but it was all done above board, and he did end up getting his home. Now, with using the CPN numbers, it's been big all over the internet for years, where people are saying, "Hey, set up another credit profile." The people were saying that there's nothing wrong with doing it. Uh, this is available to you. They would give all of these excuses about why it's legal. But I had made a video a long time ago, and you can search it. Are CPNs legal? So you can see that I had talked about this a long time ago, and search that on my channel. And I would, you know, I had basically had to help people get out of their situation with it, because especially with what they're doing now, where they're having a government agency do real time connection with the Social Security database, they're going to be able to see if a person has a fake number because the profiles, there was ways to sneak it in because with the bureaus and the way that people were manipulating the bureaus to do stuff, stuff was being snuck in. But now what they're doing, just like for mortgages, I don't know if you haven't bought a home recently. I think somewhere around uh, probably around 2016 or probably right after the housing downturn in 2008, somewhere around there, they had made put in a database to where the IRS was connected to the lender, the mortgage lender. So they were able to put your information in there, and they were able to get a transcript. That was something that was not available before the '08 crash. And so what that did is it took away people's ability to like make fake profiles or to just beef up their credit profile and not really have the income to pay for the house because they wanted to get that transcript from the IRS. And so now it looks like what they've done for credit card companies and lenders is that they're able to look at that profile in real time so they can make a decision. Now, we know with AI and all of the different tools that are available now, with those coming together, it's going to make the process go a lot faster. So, like in the past, it would have been like, okay, we had this new database. You could check it in real time. They would have had to have a human check that database to match that information up to make sure that it was correct. But now what they're doing is they're like, okay, this database is going to talk with this database, and we figured out all of the bugs because there's several banks that are involved with this consent database, and it's going to give them real-time data about who that individual is in the correct social security number. So really, to avoid any issues with that, to avoid any problems, is that you got to do it the right way. If you don't do it the right way, you're just going to end up setting yourself up for in the future for a downturn with your credit and potentially financially because it just let's just say that you're running your business off of that CPN number. You have a personal credit card, and you're using that to get your products or pay for advertising or to do whatever services. If you're with Navy Fed, JP Morgan Chase, or some of the other banks and credit unions, after they get on aboard on this, they have stated that they're going to cancel out any cards that do not match that person's name and their social security number. That they're just going to cancel the cards, and that's going to end up having a lot of people lose that access to credit that they had that was either able to help them pay expenses for their business, to run their business, to do advertising for their business, whatever it was for. It's just going to be like taking a huge step back. So really, to avoid that type of stuff is number one, stay away from doing these types of gimmicks. These are just like straight up gimmicks. Get your credit repaired and move forward. And when your credit is repaired, if you just stay focused on doing what needs to get done, the time will pass. No matter what, tomorrow is going to come, the next day is going to come, the next day is going to come. What's important is what you're going to do with that time. What are you going to do with working on your credit today? What are you going to do with working today with anything that you got to do? Like when I get into to work, I make a list of things that I want to get done, and I don't sit there wasting time getting on social media and typing stuff or looking at gossip and all that stuff. I start doing what I need to do and I cross it off and I see that I get a lot done. Maybe some days I don't get everything done, but most days I get everything done. So with working on your credit and avoiding this CPN stuff, unless you are severe ID theft uh, victim or domestic violence, like I said earlier, we've helped people who were victim of domestic violence get that changed over so they can have no nothing will be in their spouse's name that would allow them to be able to contact and find out where they're at. So uh, one thing before I close out is that they were saying that 30 that billions of dollars in charge-offs, banks have been uh, uh, well, they stated in there they feel like, money was stolen from them by people who did bust outs on them, where they just ended up letting the cards get charged off where they had taken the money. Vehicles, being able to do it with vehicles, like I stated earlier, that has been minimized because they have something in place that well they're now that they have this in place, they'll be able to check it two ways. But the dealers, because you have to actually go there, when they started not just worrying about selling the car, and they started worried about selling the car to the person that they're selling the car to. And that happened because they were selling cars and they ended up getting no payments, and the lenders that they were sending those loans through were like, who did you sell the car to? And when they looked it up, it was like that person doesn't really exist, or that profile doesn't really exist, or they had someone come in and paid them to get the car, and then they sent the car to somebody else. So they've already kind of put a little end to that. Now we're about to see that they're going to be putting an end to this, at least minimizing it when it comes to personal loans, credit cards, and probably other types of online types of lending opportunities that are available. It says here also, I got in my notes that reporting agencies and lenders policy, major credit reporting agencies such as Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion may not recognize CPNs, but we already know that they do recognize CPNs if people put the information in there in a way that was manipulating the system. But what it says here is that they're going to also utilize that, and they're starting to kind of crack down on uh, making sure that people are not trying to have two credit profiles. So they're utilizing address information, or utilizing the their social security number. It actually says here that they're really digging deep into the database of the Social Security Administration, because this is where all of the banks and the lenders were like, hey, if we just had some type of database where we could look at, we have a profile of an individual who is applying, but we have nothing to kind of scrub it up against that's supposed to be the like top tier authority figure. We're looking at all the different databases, TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, LexisNexis, and all of those places, but those are not government agencies who initially gave out that number. So now they have direct access to the agency that gives out that number. So I just wanted to speak on that. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, what makes it different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my two-phase settlement process for repairing credit and increasing your scores. If you need your credit reports and scores, because everything starts there, go to my website, www.your3scores.com. Link is below this video. You can get your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports and start looking at what's on there, how it's on there, and putting together a strategy to get the job done. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters: statute of limitations letter, cease and desist collection activities letter, and debt validation letter. I do ask for a donation on those, but those letters can literally save you time, money, and frustration. And I have links for other services that are below this video, just in case you have something that you feel that you need assistance with. There's links for helping you if you're getting sued by a third-party debt collector or an original creditor. We can help you with settling debt. If you want to avoid court or avoid getting a wage garnishment, we can help you. Links are below this video, or you can go to my website, click on that live chat, and tell us your situation, and we'll see how we can help you. Please subscribe to the channel, post your questions and comments. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and Founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.